Well guys, here at the house, about to put some arrows to the Hoyt, trying to make a hunt tomorrow and getting prepped for it. So anyways, on this week's show, we're going to first dive into one of Gavin's hunts on the hay farm. He was after the big deer, awesome hunt. Then I'm going to catch you up on my last week, what's been going on with me. Long story short, we had an encounter with Bullwinkle. And finally, Gavin's going to tell you guys how to take the best hero photos of your big buck. So a lot of good stuff. Hope you enjoy. Let us know what you think. We'll talk to you later. I think it'd be fine. That one's got enough twists and turns. That was the thing with the property I hunted last year. I think it had so many twists and turns at the top and so much just three-dimensional cover that it worked.
We don't need to listen to the Charmin commercial.
Well, welcome back to episode 7 of the Chase Office series.
Yeah, we are getting ready for this awesome cold front. It's finally here. It hit today, and I know Rye's going out with Mike tonight. Josh is going to be out. I think Caleb's going out with Casey.
Sounds like the whole team's going out.
Yeah, I mean, really, the majority of the guys.
Tyler Bellman, I think, is the only one that I don't know for sure that's going out. And it seems like everybody's making a plan to go in after a deer. And that, if you listen to the thing Gavin and I kind of closed on last week's episode, it was like, this is the time to take risks, the time to go in after it. And the team is putting that to the truth. So
yeah, I mean, the biggest thing, if you think back to the 6x5 hunt last year, this time, when I hit him the first time, I mean, it was one of those scenarios where, like, not getting many pictures of him, but it's like, if there's going to be a night that he's going to daylight, it's going to be something like this. So, big thing for sure.
It's going to be a fun night.
We'll get a phone call tonight, I think.
I do too. Owen seemed pretty confident.
Yeah. No, Owen's got it going on with that recurve. That'll be awesome. All right, October 13th, here it is. Cold front's finally here. It's our third cold front of the year, and we are about to jump in here into the hay farm. We're gonna go sit where we sat last weekend. Surefire spot to be as close to the bedding as possible where these deer tend to bed. That 10 point's been active in here, so I think it should be good. I think our biggest enemy tonight is gonna be the wind. Get packed up here, hike up the hill, and see if we can get into something.
Well, it is Saturday, October 19th. I was hoping to get out on that cold front this past week, but I only made it out on Saturday. That was really the day that the cold front hit. Gavin and I slipped out after we got the office video done, jetted up the road, did a main show interview with Mike, and then hit the farm. And we went to this farm where I had the encounter, and I've been hunting the past couple weeks. And I was thinking about where to sit, and the night before, one of the mature deer up there, he's an 8-point, and I'm not sure if I would shoot him. There's nothing wrong. He's a great deer. It's just, there's 2 good 10s up there. I think we're going to have some good deer coming on the river piece, and obviously Bullwinkle. Bullwinkle, I'm just a sucker for, and that deer's not getting past. But we did a hanging hunt. This is a walnut right here, and it was a northeast wind, so it's blowing back this way, right across the open bean field. And there's a big trail that comes up north-south, and where this trail camera is, there's another trail that comes up the ravine and crosses. So you have a big trail crossing right here, and it's been a hub of activity this entire time. I really like the spot, but to hunt it on any sort of north is pretty difficult. So you could sit in here, but you're a little bit out of the game of where the hub is, and blow northwest back this way. But with this northeast and this little walnut, and you'll see it's a little walnut, Gavin and I got up in it, and we saw a fawn, and we bumped a couple deer on the way out. And there was a small buck bedded here and 2 does bedded here, and it was kind of a risk going in there. But the main point again was to go back and have that stand hung for when we did a morning sit there. I think it's going to be a great spot for when the thermals are elevating. And I had multiple days this week. We had cold temperatures, and I thought I was gonna be able to get out, and unfortunately I couldn't. And I mean, the 2 coldest days of the week, we had it was 3 or 4 mature bucks that came by. There was a little foggy one morning, I couldn't quite tell, but that short tine 10, the 8, and one of the nicer 10s all came through their daylight. So I've been really impressed with the spot. It seems like a hub activity for the deer. And that's one thing when I start with these properties, I try to just, and you hear us talk about a lot, find pinch points and heavy trail crossings, and that what this is. I generally love to run my cameras on scrapes, but that spot specifically, there's not really a spot to have a scrape and get the movement. And I think just having that trail crossing has been really successful. So maybe I want to put a post out there and get the camera a little bit closer. And Cuddyback makes a zoom camera now, which essentially zooms in the image and gives you more clarity. So in a spot like that where you have that 20-yard gap, it's a great thing to check out. So I actually have one of those sitting upstairs, and now that I'm thinking about it, I should probably go put it there. So we might do that. Anyways, long story short, that was a pretty slow hunt, but it was fun. Gavin and I got out together. It's always fun when we get together. And we get back to the truck, and I'm in the truck doing the closing interview for the hunt, and just kind of snapped my head. An old Bullwinkle is standing there at 40 yards, and we got a little footage of him. He is an awesome looking deer. Like I said, he's a brick. And I'm pretty certain, and this is all guesswork here. So when we came out that night, instead of walking, when we accessed, we came across the north line and then cut across the bean field directly to that stand where we weren't putting any ground scent where these deer are going to travel on that path. When we went out that evening, I just followed the top of the bean field the whole way out, thinking that's the minimal way. A lot of deer have been feeding in these waterways on that greenery. And we walked straight out and came around. You can see obviously my access from the day I left the sticks at the truck. We come back right here. And I'm wondering if Bullwinkle wasn't bedded in here, and it doesn't look like it on the map, but there's more trees that are here than you can see, and it's a little bit thicker, and it's a great bedding spot for all these deer. And you notice that in all the different waterways along that property. And I'm wondering if we didn't walk by him and he just came to investigate what we were. I mean, when he was standing there at the truck, it was like, hey, what are you guys doing here? I don't know if he heard us and thought we were another deer. And again, this is all guesswork, right? So, but he was standing there brick bodied, like he was puffed up, and I'm not really sure. It's kind of interesting. So it was cool to see him for the first time. And I mean, again, I'm a sucker for him. So I'm honestly kind of considering like trying to go film that deer and find that deer. I want to move some cameras around. The scrapes haven't necessarily been as active this last week or so, and still getting a good amount of deer on camera, but that river property, on the other hand, is starting to heat up, starting to get more deer there coming in there, a lot of smaller bucks. And this morning, actually, one of the deer from the summer that I got a picture of showed back up on that property. And cool deer, short tine 10 with split brows. And I think it'd be a great deer to get Abby on. So we're possibly talking about making a sit tomorrow. We got south winds, and that'll be the 20th on Sunday. outside that, we've got, let's see what we got for weather this week. 70 to 81, 79, and 70 between tomorrow and Tuesday. And then it drops to 62 on Wednesday and 53 on Thursday. So we have another good cold front coming in. And mark my words, I will be making some hunts this week. So Friday is going to be the 25th of October. So we're getting to that really just pre-rut period where these bucks are being more aggressive. So I'm thinking about making morning sits this week. I'm thinking about calling, starting to do some blind calling. With all that being said, Gavin is going to do a segment here on how to take the best hero photos of your whitetail. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Well, happy Saturday, everybody. Hope you guys all had a great week. It's been a very eventful past 24 hours here in Iowa. Last night, Mike and I were out and were able to fill a tag on a great buck, and I couldn't be more pumped for Mike. It was an awesome experience, awesome hunt altogether, and we can't wait to show that to you guys. But today, while I was in the mode of it, was thinking about hero photos and thought it would be a great thing to kind of touch on and pass along just some general ideas when it comes to taking photos. And there's just a few rules of thumb, whether you use a phone camera, an actual DSLR type camera, mirrorless camera, whatever, that I think would be awesome to share. So I'm gonna share a few things. One big rule of thumb that I see a lot of people doing is taking photos where you're standing up and looking down at the deer and the person. They still, of course, work. There's nothing wrong with them. But at the end of the day, for it to kind of look the most appealing when it comes to what somebody sees, something like this where it's essentially at eye level with the deer. Eye level, of course, with the person and everything, but that just gives a great, not only overview of the landscape, as you can see in the background, but also it keeps everything very proportionate. It just has an appealing look as opposed to looking down. So that's number one. Number two really comes down to the setting that you choose. Really anywhere works. You can use a cornfield like in this example. This is up on a levee, so you're able to get up higher and therefore be in the sky a little bit. This one is along a river. It's a beautiful spot. I mean, anywhere where you can bring your deer to showcase that location that you're in, showcase the fall colors. I mean, all those little things when it comes down to taking a great memorable photo, factor into that. And it just probably takes a little extra thought beforehand. But again, when it comes to the location of it, that's just as important as anything to making an awesome photo. A great rule of thumb as well, you can see here, the deer is essentially the main focus, the main subject, if you will, of the photo. Not to say that Caleb's not to say that Mike's not, of course, but you want your deer to be the main subject. That's the memory you're preserving. And so just by positioning of the deer in relation to the hunter, that's where you can go from a good photo to a great photo. So as you can see in this photo by the 6x5 where I took this one, you're able to see the landscape really, really well, and that's because we used wide angle. So when it comes to the higher end camera side of things, using different lenses can help you achieve different things. So this is a wide angle camera. I can tell you it is at 12 millimeters in focal length. And so again, with that wider angle, you're just able to create a larger scope that you're able to see, versus this picture of Fitz here is going to be probably this is on a 24 to 105 millimeter lens, and it's zoomed in a little bit. I can tell just because he's not taking up very much of the frame. This is cropped probably a little bit from editing and whatnot, but you can also see that there's quite a bit of bokeh, a little bit of blurriness to the background that signifies oftentimes that the lens was zoomed in. And it's a great photo, but at the same time, you're not getting that same wide angle look that you were in the 6x5 photo. Caleb's is with a 24 to 105 as well, but I think it's going to be a little bit wider. And this is at 28 millimeters. So again, you can kind of see that change. And so when it comes to lenses, thinking about those things, you can even get up into the 600 millimeter realm and get 50 yards away and get a really tight one. I mean, there's a lot of different things you can do with lenses. And while they're not cheap, all these different things when it comes to having great camera equipment make for incredible photos, as you can see. I mean, we really take pride in our work, taking great photos, but at the same time, you can see some differences when it comes to utilizing different equipment. Always good to shout out some great creative shots when it comes to the DSLR side of things. You can really achieve a lot just by some of those higher end cameras. Shout out to Kane Gillette on this one. This is an awesome photo. Great composition and everything. Zach looks super serious and like dramatic, and it's great. But either way, it's a great photo. And so there's, again, always a lot you can do. A few other things, just little nitty gritty stuff. You can see here, the rack is very level. His head's not sticking in a weird way. Just making the deer look good, putting his tongue in his mouth, things like that, just to clean up the overall appearance. Sometimes we bring a towel and wipe them off if they're real bloody or anything. You know, all those little things just to make a nice clean photo. That's generally our process, is to make it as just eye appealing as possible. And that's ultimately, when it comes to making videos or even just, again, preserving awesome memories, it's always cool to go that extra mile and do the extra effort to make that as good as it can be. So hope this is helpful. I could talk about this forever. Let us know if you guys like this type of stuff or if you find this terribly boring. Either way, I think it's just some good basic stuff when it comes to, you know, being at eye level with the deer, picking a great spot if you can to take that deer to take good photos. Those are two main things that can really enhance the photos, and again, just going back to preserving that memory for you. So let us know what you think about this. Hopefully we'll be able to do more segments like these if you do like them. And thanks for watching as always.